Hey everybody, it's JT from VapestarsNetwork.com. Got a device review. Going to be reviewing and talking about the Panzer by MCV out of the Philippines. Let's vape a little bit. Let's vape about it. Then we'll talk about it. So, you gotta say right off the bat, the mod looks beautiful to me. A couple words that come into mind are aggressive. A lot of machining has gone into making this mod. I really like it. I also like plain tube, just a clean look, but I really like all the texture, all of the work that's gone into making these tubes. I think it's pretty cool. So the Panzer, as it's broken down, and I will do a couple close-up pictures of this if you want to stick around towards the end of the review. I'll do some close-ups of the individual sections, but top cap, copper, adjusted contact. Okay. Just something I want to mention about the Panzer's top cap. Okay, I mentioned copper adjustable contact, right? That's cool, and obviously that's what you see. But something I wanted to point out, and let me say, small voltage drops, really not a big deal to me, but since I'm a reviewer and I'm trying to describe this device, this adjustable copper contact on the top cap screws into a brass piece that actually makes contact with your atomizer's post. Not going to get great close-ups right here, but you can see that's brass, and that's actually what makes contact, like I said, with your atomizer's post. So, for whatever that's worth, yes, it's an adjustable copper contact in this top cap of the Panzer, but you have a secondary metal, a secondary piece for that voltage to travel through that is brass. So, just thought I'd mention that. We've got a small section here, and I kind of described that as kind of a castle. Like you picture the column on the sides of a castle. Section there. You've got your middle section here. A couple flat spots, and then some machining in there. Just really cool. Vent holes, as you can see towards the bottom. You've got another section, right? And that's got a little design straight in it. Most of the time that's kind of the bottom section. And then the button assembly. Okay, the button assembly, when it's put together, actually gives you a little bit of a brass accent. Okay, otherwise the mod is stainless steel, like I mentioned, copper contacts. That goes for the button assembly as well. Copper there. And then, like I said, the little bit of brass accent, and the button on the bottom itself is brass with the pretty sweet looking logo and serial number. So most of the time the way I set this up is that the non-castle small section, then this middle tube, then the castle type small section, and this is for an 18650. The freedom you have, you definitely can use any of the 1800 series batteries just by removing a section or adding it back on. The threads are really nice. They are not super fine, and I like that. I know some people prefer a finer thread pattern. That's not these, but they are super hefty. I do not feel like I will ever have the chance or make the mistake of cross-threading this device. I just don't think it's made that way. I really enjoy that. Everything on this mod just really screams durable, right? Substantial. I enjoy it a lot. Something like this gives me a certain feeling, right? I vape, and I'll tell you right now, Nemesis clones and my authentic Nemesis, I use those probably 80% of the time lately. They get the majority of my my vaping is done with those mods. There's just some kind of feeling. It makes me feel some kind of way to grab something that just has this texture and the weight, and just to screw these parts together and feel those big beefy threads. I dig it. It's a mechanical device. We know that. Threaded here, threaded there, button assembly. It's a pretty standard thing, but it makes me feel good. I feel like I have something pretty cool in my hand. Maybe I can't say that very often. Maybe I can. I really like it. Now it's a $200 device. Pretty expensive. This is one of the few devices that I own in that price range. I'll tell you right now. I do like it. I wish I would have grabbed a Panzer clone to do a little comparison for you. Unfortunately, I didn't. I will follow up with that at some point when I get a hold of a clone and kind of do a side-by-side thing. It's really nice though. Like I said, it's about 200 bucks, so you got to figure out if that's worth it or not. And I haven't tried the clone. That may be the route you want to go. Let me do a little extra drip in here. As you know, if you watch my reviews, I don't do a lot of technical stuff, right? But I'll tell you what I did with this and the Biomech. A very simple, very remedial test. I ran a voltage drop test. I ran it about 7 or 8 times and averaged it together. I'm sure I'll get feedback from this, and that's excellent. This is not the end-all be-all. This is a quick test that I ran. On average, I get about a 0.6 volt voltage drop with this device. Take that, use it, ignore it, whatever you want to do. That's where I'm coming from. That's where I'm at with it. Good, bad, whatever. I like the device. Not a stealthy device, in my opinion, just because it's kind of heavy. But I really like it. The locking ring is good. Has never got stuck on me. That's very important. You know, sometimes you over tighten the locking ring and you can't get it back undone. I've not had this problem. The one thing I have had, and it does continue to happen, and I do notice it, is while I'm vaping and not paying attention and just vaping, the actual button, this brass button here, does come unscrewed, right? When it's tightened up all the way, it sits flush with the bottom, with it not locked. After vaping for a little while, it comes unscrewed and it sticks out. And at that point, you would be unable to set it upright without it firing on its own. Now, I understand there are a lot of quick fixes to fix that. You can put some Teflon tape, or even people use dental floss, on the threads of this bottom contact and screw it into the button, and it won't do that. Just something I've noticed. Not a huge deal, but I mention it anyway. That's it, man. The Panzer. Stick around. I'm going to show you a couple close-up pictures, but that's going to wrap it up here. Thanks, everybody.